and looks at this guy and says, "Whoa, who's this guy?"
He's a dude that wants to fight someone.
Oh, hey, Nix.
He wants to find the King of Fire.
Oh.
He wants
Weird.
to fight the King of Fire.
That's strange. We're not gonna find him here. Isaac looks like, even though this mask doesn't move, the eyes do. You can tell he looks really annoyed. But he is here.
But I'll let Isaac speak for himself.
I want to fight you. Kane just shrugs and says, "Okay." You guys want to watch?
Sure.
Sure, from a safe distance where I don't get my face melted.
Cool. As everything appears black, you guys all appear in this void as Kane and Isaac begin their fight. Kane immediately, without any form of hesitation, just hits Isaac with a blast. It hits him hard, too. This blast covers almost a football field wide of distance. As eventually the smoke clears, Aziel and Akari just look. Kane did that? Your dad did that, Ray? Your dad did that?
He's the son of a Celestial, of course.
Akari stands up and immediately just leans over the bleachers looking. He looks extremely confused.
What are you confused by?
In my mind that Isaac is perfectly fine.
Isaac comes out of the smoke, and his fire is only burning brighter.
I wonder if he has the type of flame that absorbs impact.
Isaac hits him with an almost identical blast. It's just a few. It's almost unnoticeable. It's barely even weaker. As Kane gets kind of launched back, digging his claws into the ground. Kane looks extremely confused. What would you guys like to do?
That's all.
Do you ever wonder if maybe Isaac's ability could be like absorbed on impact that can reflect of whatever he's hit by?
No, that fire doesn't use any form of impact. It's just pure energy.
And you must have really saved up a lot of energy for everything.
Kane shoots him again, but the blasts are just all for naught. As Kane starts rushing him. Kane gets about 2 meters away from him, and everything goes still and extremely quiet. In a gigantic, bright, blinding flash of pure blue and somewhat violet, the smoke clears, and Kane is sitting on the ground on his knee, just on one knee, almost like he's struggling to get back up. You were right. You're not the King of Fire. You're barely even powerful. Akari looks absolutely astonished. Kane stands up with this bright violet flash in his eye. Ray, you can practically see Iris standing behind him. Not literally standing behind him, but his spirit.
Never back down, never give up.
Kane lets out this extremely violent burst as Isaac just blasts it back. It doesn't go away. As a matter of fact, it hits Isaac, but the burst starts turning blue. It doesn't disappear as it normally would. It starts turning blue, almost like Isaac is corrupting his fire. It's spreading around it and consuming it. It reaches Kane and explodes around him in this nuclear fission-style blast. As the fire turns violet and starts coursing around Isaac. Isaac swipes away some of it, but gets consumed by most of it. You can tell they're both pretty hurt, but nowhere near done. Akari just turns to you guys and says, at this point, I have no idea who's landing harder blows.
I don't either.
Neither of them.
Huh?
Neither of them are landing harder blows. At this point, it's not about who can hit harder, it's about who can dodge better.
They're not dodging.
Well,
I've never seen
I guess.
Isaac dodge a fight. I've never seen him not get hit somewhere. Akari says with like this shudder in his eyes. It looks like he's extremely concerned for your dad. Isaac lets out this fire around him, around his body, and starts approaching your dad. As your dad does the same, but the tails around him... sorry, this is Isaac. I never posted up his picture on... I know you guys know what he looks like, but I'm still going to do it.
No, you did.
This is Kane. Kane doesn't approach him. The tails start wrapping around Kane's body. As Isaac flares fire through his feet, which sends him coursing around in this arc-type formation. Although the fire looks a little strange, it's darker than normal. Kane goes for a punch as this weird fluid comes around Isaac and just kind of like disappears. As Isaac appears behind Kane and lets out this monstrous blast, which Kane doesn't manage to absorb or even deflate. As now Kane is starting to look a little beat up.
Should we find a way to step in or something?
Aziel looks to you, Ray.
I just have a very straight face, just watching the fight with paying just extremely close attention.
What are you paying attention to? What's going through Ray's head?
The way that they're fighting, the type of fire that they're using.
Kane's using his violet fire.
Also trying to make sure that neither of them die. Or at least are close to death.
Iris appears next to you guys. He's just watching. Who do you think will win?
At this point, I honestly don't know.
Kane's never known defeat before. While I was raising him, he would have rather died than be defeated. So much so to the point where he did. And I let him. Isaac blasts Kane with this weird feint as Kane manages to predict it and completely dodges out of the way. Isaac creates this little ember as Kane transforms it into this violet explosion and shoots it back at Isaac, which Isaac wraps his fire around and blasts it back at Kane, which Kane does not manage to absorb or deflect. Kane does not seem okay right now. Isaac's just looking at him. You ought to step down. Kane, with even more fire in his eyes, just shakes his head.
That's Dad's moral.
That's Dad's what?
That's Dad's moral. Never back down, never give up. It's not over until he wins.
Iris, just with this kind of like cocky smile, leans in further. Isaac sends out a blast, but Kane manages to deflect it. Just barely. He just barely, but does deflect it. Completely. Isaac sends out another one. Kane manages to deflect it a little better, but still barely. Kane, another blast. Isaac fails. Sorry, Isaac, another blast. Kane fails. As Isaac's completely disappeared. Every blast he lands sends out this cloud of fire and smoke. As when the smoke finally settles, your dad looks like this, Ray. Whoa, he's busting out that transformation, Iris says.
Huh?
He's never used that before. Although I taught him that.
Oh.
I just kind of pat the seat next to me.
Well, I'm already sitting down.
Oh. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was focused.
Isaac's looking for the King of Fire. Right?
Yeah.
King of all flame.
Huh?
Isaac sends out another blast, but Kane manages to just swipe it out of the way. Isaac sends out this massive behemoth of a blast from the back of Kane's head. He needs a nat 20 to dodge, but he completely fails. Getting blasted and skidded across the ground. Isaac appears back next to Kane as Kane just swipes him, hitting him in the stomach. Isaac now does look a bit beat up. Isaac manages to deflect, Isaac does manage to deflect one of Kane's blasts and comes in for a follow-up. but Kane manages to deflect it. Again! It happens again! A perfect deflection between both of them. Isaac goes for a blast, but Kane completely sends out this gigantic wave of fire. Isaac does not dodge it that well, as Isaac does look a bit beat up.
So bless you, Morgan.
Yeah, by the way, Lucy.
So Iris, who do you think's gonna win?
Just watch. Isaac smiles, and the fire around him, the fire around his face, reveals this is kind of like coming off as ash. He takes off this coat, and it reveals this Sorry, my grandparents were being annoying. Like I said, he takes off his coat and reveals this circling, almost arrows of fire around him. Iris says, "I'm not sure, but they are definitely not equal in power. The imbalance is obvious." Isaac lets out this gigantic blast, which Kane does not manage to deflect. Another one, again, he fails to deflect. Another one, he fails to deflect it. Another one, Kane deflects it and disappears this time. Isaac surrounds himself in fire, and Kane doesn't back off quite. He follows through with his attack, but kind of fails to move out of the way. He gets surrounded by fire, and this form burns away. Kane completely disappears, and in an instant you hear, "There is one for every type, so I shall show you Hakai." As everything becomes engulfed in fire around him. Somebody call it. And what are you calling for?
Between Kane and Isaac, or?
Yeah. Tails for Kane or tails for Isaac?
Kane.
As Isaac, the clouds clear. Isaac dragging Kane by his tails back up the bleachers. Ikari, with his face pale, says, "Holy shit, he didn't even use his..." Never mind. Iris says, he has not known defeat until today. Today marks the day.
I walk over to my dad.
Your dad seems unconscious. Not dead, just unconscious.
I'm just gonna pick him up.
Isaac picks him up and hands him to you. Isaac looks at you and says, I'm the destroyer of fire. I hope you don't take this personally.
I don't. I hope one day you find the person you're looking for.
Appreciate it. But I feel like I already did.
Where?
Isaac is just looking at you and then at your wings. Who better? But for
One day
now,
I will fight you.
you have to claim the crown first.
I know. That's why I said one day, not 2 days.
And with that fight, with that battle, the second half of this session will have to wait for tomorrow.